Welcome to News Now, the highlights of the week's news and views. 10 years ago, on a warm, late summer day in September, the world changed in a shocking, violent, and never-forgotten moment. The first jetliner that hijackers steered into one of New York's Twin Towers shattered a dominant piece of the city's skyline, wiped out scores of people, and tore into the hearts and minds of millions of Americans. Mainstream terrorism had arrived in the bloodiest possible way on mainland America, and the scars on the national soul of the world's wealthiest nation still hurt. Wounded pride and angry retaliation triggered a war on terrorism that has lasted 10 bloody years in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in Pakistan, and elsewhere, as America sent its soldiers, its weapons, and its spies after Al-Qaeda and its shadowy leader, Osama bin Laden. It has been a deadly decade.
Also in NewsNow, Julius Malema has been proudly loud in almost everything he says and does, and he hasn't calmed down, even when taking on President Jacob Zuma and the ANC's old guard. Did he summon his Youth League lions to flood the streets around the party's Luthuli House headquarters when the bigwigs tried to bring him to heel at a disciplinary hearing? Who knows? But they arrived anyway and showed what riotous behavior really means. Despite so many other extravagant public statements that have upset many South Africans, he was finally slapped down for suggesting the government of neighboring Botswana should be overthrown. Now, who will win the ANC's family fight, Malema or Zuma? Who will inherit the power and the glory? Libyans still have a huge battle to fight to get rid of the ghost of Gaddafi when the shooting finally stops. Alive or dead, he looms large in the memory of millions of people who endured his years of tyrannical rule. As analysts point out, they have to rethink their individual and national identities as they rebuild their traumatized country and find a new place in the world. Coach Peter de Villiers and the Springboks have flown to New Zealand with one objective: to be the first rugby team in history to win the World Cup twice in a row. The Boks won in 2007 and are determined to return with the historic consecutive win. Nelson Mandela is home in the hills of his childhood and seems very happy there. After moving from his Houghton house to Qunu in the Eastern Cape, the 93-year-old former president has shown little inclination to return to Johannesburg. Family members say he's in good health, and no one would deny him some restful years at last.
Are wages in South Africa too high? The International Monetary Fund thinks so. The fast pace of wage increases in the country are outstripping national economic growth and have become an obstacle to increasing the number of available jobs, the IMF says. Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan agrees and has suggested lightening up on tough labor laws to help to grow the economy. Not surprisingly, COSATU disagrees, claiming that would expose workers to more exploitation by employers. Who has the biggest taste for champagne in Africa? No, it's not South Africa. We're only second. Nigerians top the list, popping corks on almost 600,000 bottles a year. Third, fourth, and fifth in the top 5 champagne drinking countries on the continent are Morocco, Ivory Coast, and Congo-Brazzaville. News Now magazine, keeping you in the know.